All right, here you guys. That's right, it's now time. That's right, the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the good news, the bad news, and the other shit. I don't know which one. The good news, the bad news. Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, you got everybody out. You got everybody rushing out from their bedpans right now, man. You got people getting up, tossing the bedpans, letting it go.
It's that kind of thing. Okay, today's good news and bad news and other shit. We have to focus on the talk of the moment, which has to be the Academy Awards. You know, and the fact that they got called out for a lack of diversity, lack of speaking parts, work behind the scenes, everything. You know, it's not just the people of color, but also for women. I think it was like 90-something% men. Mm-hmm. That's even they got a little bit more color. I don't know. It might not bad. So this year, hosted by Chris Rock, given the task, and I wish I knew whether or not the Academy asked him to review what his stuff was going to be. Vic, first thing,
yeah,
you wonder, you going into it, Chris Rock was hosting. The first question I had was, Vic, do you think he was given autonomy for the programming that he was doing, or do you think that they actually checked his stuff before he was set to deliver it?
Number one, Chris Rock had total autonomy after they told them their autonomy.
Because that's the question. Because that's the first question. Who was controlling and making the decisions? Right. And what was the basis of those meetings? Because you wonder what the intent was. Okay, let me tell you what it seems to be this morning, though. Okay, first, see if we can agree. I went to look around this morning. It seems to be a morning consensus that everybody pretty much feels happy about the awards. I went there. I could tell it was, the reporting, there was some stressful areas, but it seems like when they joked about a lot of the stressful areas, that out of it, people came out of it actually feeling reasonably comfortable. Now, whether that's important or not is a part of this discussion, okay?
Right.
Whether that's important, but at least let's say this. This morning, I don't know what your impressions were after it. It seemed at least the overall media spin,
right?
Because that's what it really is you're seeing,
right?
Because there's a whole bunch of links on Yahoo, which are little segments that they have chosen,
right,
to put out there for us.
Absolutely.
So the media spin is that it was mostly a pleasant experience. What do you? I don't.
Number one, is Chris Rock a messenger or a comedian?
He's a comedian.
He was being comedic. I didn't look for him to be the messenger. That was not what I was looking for. If Chris Rock would have got up front and said, look, all comedy aside, let me tell you what it's about. I said, they allowed him to say, you have autonomy. And I just believe that you have to stir the cup and have trend and viral talk after. And you can't do that in this day and age with the Oscars being tame, homogenized.
Because no one will care.
No one. So
no one will care.
So at the point that, let me just say this, I would have had no problem if they said, he's going to go there, but we're going to benefit from him going there. Because still at the end of the day, are you part of the sorority?
Well, he threw out, okay, to tell you the truth, I can only watch so much of the Academy Awards anyway. Not so much that I've been turned off by the racial stuff, as I just don't kind of give a shit about the Academy Awards. I'm just one of those people. Like some of y'all don't watch the Super Bowl. So I just don't really give a shit. Now, let me tell you something. It wasn't like I don't like movies, because I love movies. I'm into directors. I watch a lot of movies. I'm not big into awards. You know how many award shows they have? Even though this one, I just don't give a shit. So I usually go after the fact, or I watch the early parts of it, but it takes a long time. As you know, it's a long show.
Yeah.
And you have to really love movies a lot. And
yeah.
like I said, I love movies a lot, but I don't give a shit about award shows. So I watched some, and then I came back and watched some of the clips. So I watched Chris Rock's opening again, and some of the other things. And so, like I said, it's interesting what the spin is on it this year, because it is the whole question of a lack of diversity. So I was wondering what people, also the whole thing with Stacey Dash. You see Stacey Dash?
No, as soon as you say Stacey, I dash the opposite direction.
Yeah, Stacey Dash, for white folks who don't know, who was the star of Clueless, the black girl in Clueless, the black companion girl. That's one of her defining roles. You know what? The issue with Stacey is that she's sort of an embarrassment to most black people, because she commonly says things that sound idiotic to us. That's the simplest way I can say it. Mm-hmm. They may not sound as idiotic to other people, and I bet, at least in the circle around her, it doesn't sound that way. But to us, she's an idiot. Okay, so to most black people, and and every group has their person. Black people are trying to trade her back to white folks. They like to trade her. We say we'll take Kesha.
What you trying to say, bro?
I'm just saying, there are those people.
This is wrong.
So Stacey, and let me tell you that's coming from a guy who, like a lot of guys, looking at her, you totally want to bone her or something, because she's fine. But the more she opens her mouth, the less attractive she gets. She's one of the people, as long as she shuts up, she's gorgeous. But the minute she talks, it's like, women, ladies know this, because I used to hear this from women I knew. They would tell me, sometimes you meet a guy and all he has to do is just keep his mouth shut and he'll get lucky. But he just can't do it.
Hey, look.
He just can't do it.
Madison Clifton mimics the same thing here on Meerkat. Clueless. It's appropriate, right? So somebody knew back in the day that the show Clueless was a forerunner of what you was going to get later down the road. I want to pay homage to the person who had her in that wonderful show Clueless, because isn't karma a bitch? And it runs rampant and wild. And she is out of the box, man.
Well, there you go. Now it's time for Mario's commentary, because one of the issues about these kinds of things has always been that in the background, that they seem designed to make white folks feel better, usually at the expense of black folks. Let me say that again, because this is a very long-standing. It's like driving Miss Daisy. See, it depends on your perspective. I was watching it when my mother said, I want to drive Miss Daisy off a cliff. I want to put her right in that car, sit her ass right over the cliff. And see, but Miss Daisy changed in the movie. See?
So what you trying to say?
But see, but remember, to us, it's like Huck Finn, and these, to a lot of black folks, are movies designed, situations designed to make white folks feel better about their interaction with black people. So, especially, now let me also say that this type of feeling is very much generational, like a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be much of the mentality of younger black folks, okay, as it is to be the mentality of older black folks, okay, which also is part of the whole Academy Awards thing. My perspective is that it's actually okay. I've changed. When I was younger and more angry about things, which youth tends to do, and then as age has given me the perspective of people changing, I can tell you, as a fairly radical leftist and a black person who came up in the 60s, we've already had a movement in public consciousness that is past what I ever expected in my lifetime. And that I mean, I never, in my whole life, being racist and bigoted, one could do openly. For the longest time, it seemed like that had passed, but Donald Trump has come back to remind us that in America today, a large percentage of Americans still, if not bigots themselves, at least are willing to tolerate bigotry. That is the proof of Donald Trump. Donald Trump proves to you how much bigotry exists in America, all right? And how many people will feel that even if they consider themselves not to be bigots, it's not a deal breaker for them if you're a bigot. They'll certainly still support you and bond with you. If you're openly insulting Muslims or Mexicans, they'll openly bond with you. So, it's still there, but it's the fact that that's the minority of the consciousness that is so beautiful. When I was a child, Donald Trump was the norm everywhere. Those kinds of attitudes, and worse, the norm everywhere. I think it's okay for young folks and the progressive white folks and others who are attempting to deal with race. I think it's okay for them to have feel-good moments. Now, some black people say, but remember why you're going rah. You're going rah because you're still angry, which I was too, over the days gone by. But these are your supporters. These are the people. This is your choir. Mm-hmm. It is actually different. Mm-hmm. I want to actually reward people and build coalitions for making the attempts toward change. We need to acknowledge that a lot of folks out there have made attempts at change, are making attempts at change. A lot of folks out there are challenging the past. A lot of folks out there are moving forward and making this world better by looking at things like race closely and being introspective about their own feelings. So if the Academy Awards does this and allows us to have a feel-good moment about dealing with race, then I feel overall, and most importantly, that's a positive. Because the big issue with a lot of these things is that people have very, very specific opinions. And when they get into discussions, everybody tends to get very rigid and hold their position.
True.
And that's not what we need in this world. We need to feel positive. So again, my take is that it was a feel-good moment, but that's okay. And we're moving forward despite Donald Trump. I'm Mauras Hemsley, and this has been The News.
Featuring Clueless.
That's right. That's it. It's been the Clueless. The sight and sound of body heat. That's right. The good news, the bad news, and the other shit.